Hi everyone, I'm back. I just thought I'd just do this last run through of how to make a gen and how to make an effect because I didn't do it at the end, and I think Rugato asked me, or somebody did, and I'll do this quick because it's kind of crucial. Okay, so I think I'm going to make a new method, or I've never used this particular method, but I think this is going to be the easiest way for somebody to make an effect. So you have the Luminosity folder. Within that folder, you have a folder called Assets. And within that, you have a folder called Components. And in that, you have Effects, Gens, and Utilities. Utilities we don't care about so much, but let's just start with Effects. Effects. So we have all the effects that appear in the browser in this folder. So technically, it shouldn't be a problem if I want to copy and paste that file and rename it my new effect and make sure that this extension or this fake double extension deal is still good. So I basically made this secondary extension called LM effects, so we know that this talks is an effect, not a generator. So I've done that, and this list, nothing's happened, but if I do this, my new effect should be there, so it's right there. And hopefully, if everything's working, like I said, I've never done anything, I've never built an effect this way, but I think this might be the, well, Peter's got this new, Peter's got Plugin Designer, but, and he built it, and it's really nice, and that probably will be the preferred way in the end, but at the same time, it's good to know what's under the hood, and that might not be for a couple days, so. Okay, so we have this new effect in this list. I got clip channel 3 selected. I'm just gonna unroot everything here just because it's kind of distracting, and maybe this video or something. Okay, so actually I'm gonna do this. Clip channel 2, I'm gonna drag my new effect onto clip channel 2. I had it selected. So the name was a little long, so that's something to note, to make short names. It's still called fract, and it is fract because we just literally copied it. So now I'm going to go in to the plugin. I'm going to hit F10 on the slider. I'm going to go up 3 levels or 4 levels, and now I'm in the plugin container called slot 2, and now I'm looking at the plugin, like right here, this lmeffects.talks, this has everything we see right here, not the select, but this. We can actually save the select in there too, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't hurt it. But for now, that's basically what that is. And so now what we could do is we can go inside of plugin. This was not the best plugin to use, because this plugin system is beside. I want to use a better plugin. Just a second. Maybe fract is cleaner. Or no, that was fract. Maybe displace. Good. Okay, so I'm going to use displace. So I'm going to delete both those two. Yeah, it's a bummer. Loading plugins is pretty slow. It's slower than it was to 088. Was quite a bit faster. There is a significant slowdown between 088 and 099 for a number of things. For other things, it's faster, but for some things, it's slower. Okay, so we're back here. Delete this, my new effect here. Displace is a good starter one. and rename it. And I got to update this list just by toggling back and forth. Uh-oh. I think I might have made it. Huh. Yeah, so you have to do more than just toggle the list. You have to actually go into perform mode to get that sucker to update. Or exit perform mode. Well, so you have to do that. And drop the effect. Select it, turn it on, it's working. Hit F10. Go up a couple levels. Fix this up so we can see. And now it's the wrong name for one, because you're probably going to want a different name, and you're probably going to want different parameters, probably want different everything, obviously. So what you would do is first make sure it's on, so you have an input, because you're working with an effect right now, so you need some sort of input to even see your effect. And then everything you would do is going to be inside this container called system. So everything outside of this container called system should not be here. In this particular case with this plugin, you're going to need to do this. This shouldn't be here. These effects I have to go through. So this is a good note. What has to be done. These effects have not been all updated for the new, like the totally clean system of plugins. So every single one of these effects has got to get run through and delete this. I think the mod router is fine. Yeah, see, the mod router's already got that in there, and it's all automated within it. So this should not be there. But oh, it had to be for that one okay, because I exported, so I left. So for some reason or so. But in this case, yeah, it shouldn't be there. We will fix up that export, or should fix up that export from in here. Everything you do, everything should be inside system. There should be an in. There shouldn't even be, like, there should be, that cross shouldn't be outside. There should be nothing outside. You can do whatever you want, obviously. But as far as kind of sticking to the paradigm, it should look like this. So system, and whatever you do whatever you want in here, as long as you got an output. Doesn't matter, you do whatever. And then you're gonna have you don't even need an input, but you could have one if you want to get parameters, and if you want those parameters to be modded, animated, or have the ability to be preset. You could grab parameters directly from here. These would get recalled from a preset, but they won't be no, they would even be, no, they would be blended. They would even be blended in here. No, they're not blended in here. No, this switches them. So if you want, you can grab values directly from there, which looks like I am for whatever reason. Okay, so you've done that. So you're going to build whatever you want in there. You're going to need some parameters. The new method, really, like, this was all built before. This was probably, I think, started in 077 really. So. Or maybe 088, but no, I think I remember transferring the first version to 077 or 088. So, but now there was never custom parameters before, but now there is. So one method could be to just put all your parameters on this system, just place whatever, do whatever you're going to do inside, and then export to those parameters. That's one way. Yeah, it's an extra level of processing potentially, but if you're just importing some effect you've already built or whatever, so that's one thing you could do. But if in either case, whichever method from here or direct or It's up to you. But what you do need to do is go into config. Once you've made or at least decided on some parameters, or maybe decided on almost none, and want at least all effects should have at least a mix. Pretty much, maybe not some, but typically you would think all effects have a mix, because you want to have a wet dry between the effect and the non-affected input. So technically you could just delete all these rows, or maybe keep a couple because you want examples. Peter Walker is going to show you how to use Plugin Designer, so you don't use this table or anything, but this is how it works inside, so it's good to know. So basically you just create a new row or edit a row for your name, your label, your range, depending on the type of gadget it is, whether it's a float or an integer. And if it's a drop list or a radio button, it needs a table with an item list in the table. So for proc modes, I've got 16-bit and 32-bit for this one. And for video sources, it's the standard video sources list that I'm just selecting from the global video sources DAT. And that list, because I'm doing some sort of trickery somewhere else or whatever, that list I'm looking up a path. And that's it. Oh, no, one other thing you're going to want to change here is that name, my effect. So that's done. I'm not going to change the parameters right now because we don't need to necessarily. And that's it. Okay, so I've done that. So the next step would be to go up to the control panel and hit Create UI. This is slow. Huh. There's something, I don't know what's going on, but something's really slow about that one. But basically that just recreated the whole panel. I am going to delete everything in this thing except for an out. And I'm going to make it noise. And I'm going to make it, I don't want anything in here. That. Oh shit. Shoot. There. And now, I'm just going to do this. So then, okay, so we've got a new effect. I'm going to get rid of all these contents. I'm just going to do it right. Oh, this is an effect. It's not a generator. So just a second, cross and in, but I did it backwards. Quickly as possible here, and yeah, whatever, we'll pretend it's an effect, and we got config now, presets we don't have to touch. So now I'm going to hit create UI. Yeah, something's going on. There was, I think it was maybe that top or something was loading. Something's big, or maybe there's particles. Oh yeah, I think there was a big SOP in there. Okay, so we got one parameter. I don't have to touch anything here. This should be all good. But what you do need to do now is you got to wipe the presets, because the presets still have the old parameters. So just say setup, select the presets comp, hit setup, select setup, hit init presets, say yes. Oh, okay. So I saw that, Ted. No, because it's the channel mode you're in. I'll I'll just review that quick. But it's near the beginning, or it's in the channel section of the previous video, anyways. But I'll tell you quick in a second. Well, here I'll just tell you now because I'll forget. So change this setting right here to channel mode or multi. Right now you're in single mode probably. Okay, so we've knitted the presets, we've recreated the control panel, and we have a new effect. Should be working. Where are we? Here, new effects. Oh, it screwed up. I probably have to do this to get it to flow. Yeah, it's just a drawing error. And I don't see anything. Oh, probably because I didn't actually export anything. There. So now we have our new effect, which should be totally recallable by presets. And modular or blending properly. So that's working. And now we just have to save it. The only problem, well, actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save it with the select inside of it. May need to change proc mode, offset to select bit depth and on it. Oh, so I think I might have to do something in 099 for that displace effect. But basically, yeah, I think we're going to make it so the select is saved. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it should be or shouldn't be right now, but I know it doesn't matter if it's loaded because it checks. So now we'll just go. We know we have to remember we were in slot 1. You can get confused, or I can get confused quickly when you go up to list level, because now you have 6 slots. You don't even know what you were in potentially. And now I'm going to say save component talks, luminosity, not project assets. Project assets is for assets for your project. So you're doing a show or whatever, like you've got video or something. I don't put video typically in the project file, but textures or whatever, you put it there. But this is project assets. So, I mean, luminosity assets now, which is assets for luminosity itself. Components effects, and we called it new effects.lmfx. Yes. And so now I'm going to turn that one off, and now I'm going to reload it. Loaded nicely. Sweet. There it is. So that's how you make a new effect. And I would say we'll do the exact same process with the generator. Let's just double check the format of these generators. I think Peter Walker's got some new ones. Yeah, something's slow right here. Maybe I got 2 instances of touch running. Okay, sorry, my bad. I'm looking at this. Okay, so we're good there. That looks good. Yeah, so that's perfect. So go into effects, go into components. So now we're doing a gen. And we're going to copy spherical. And we're going to rename it. No, we don't want to open it. And I'm going to call it mygen. Oh, I already did this demo for somebody at one point. Okay, so but it's mygen.lmgen.talks. See if it shows up here this time. Nope. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're going to go and I'm going to delete this one so we don't get confused. And now we're going to go my gen. Now, the one thing about gens is, and synths, is that you can do a lot of what you can do with a gen with a scene, and it's one thing in one location. The problem with gens is, or clips, is that it's in some arbitrary place and you may delete it. It's not like if you're going to be working on a system or whatever and you're like, oh, I want to keep improving it. And so, because that's the thing, is like when you're loading effects or gens, like these are things that get destroyed. So I've kind of stopped using gens almost altogether because scenes kind of replace them. You don't really ever want more than one of them. And they could be typically heavy. Maybe not. Like, it just depends, right? So it's just something to consider. So I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to say open network. Yeah, the only one is that label. That label might get us screwed up on this one. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. Okay, so now we're in spherical. So I'm going to speed through this one because it's the exact same process. You would modify whatever inside of here. You would then modify this attributes table and give it a new name. So the name of the control panel is different. My new gen. And actually, I think that name will appear at the bottom too. So I want to keep it short. There should be a name and a label, but whatever. You would edit this. You would change this. Copy this. Paste it here. Connect it. Unlock it. Lock it. Cut it. Put it back. You have a new thumb. Needs a thumb to show down here. And if you're okay, so effects as well have the same thing. They all get turned off and on. So if there's special things that you want to turn off and on in your plugin, you would do that here. So in this function right here, you would say op /system /sumop .cook equals true or something. Or is it allow cooking? Yeah, so cookies allow cooking. No, cook equals true. So yeah, that would be that. And that's why now I like to use the name system, so you don't always have to change these functions when you're making a new thing. Everything else you don't need to touch, but this is, and you could do whatever else on top of this in here. You can make all kinds of functions for whatever reasons. It's all ready to go, but but this gets called. There's function, you can't delete this or anything. So it's got to stay. Same with this, that's got to stay. Everything here's got to stay, except for you'll see some of those item table DATs. And I saw this guy, this has got to get fixed. So these effects got to go through a little bit. Oop. Pen row, pen column. And this should be this here. So, but okay, so you've edited this, and that's all good. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to say create UI. Slow. Something's, I don't know, maybe it's something, this capture deal. Then you would notice active is off. If you're editing the effect and it's not selected, active is going to be off. You might need to turn that on if you have some sort of function that turns something off. So if I turn this, it's going to get turned on. If I go like this, it's going to get turned off after the crossfade's over. I'll turn it back on for a minute. So we've recreated the control panel, and now you've got to initialize the presets, setup, Initialize presets, initialize. That's done. Now you've got to remember what clip we're on, so we'll look at what clip we're on now because it's even harder here. So we're on clip 2, and we're going to save it, but I just realized now this method should probably be even, well, with Pete's plugin designer, you can skip on a pile of this, and it's a little UI to do all this, especially these gadgets. So it won't matter, but in the meantime, I don't think we can have this label inside of here. So I'm going to do this temporarily. And then I'm going to, and we were in clip 2, double check. Save talks, gens, my gen I called it, replace. I didn't replace, oh shit, I didn't put the extension. So this is the good one. Okay, so now we go, there we go. So this should be the same. And now, okay, so we're looking, let's just go right here, clip controls. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, that sucker's not happy now. I deleted that label. I was supposed to hit undo right then before I left the network. I forgot to. Let's see if I can. Nope. Shoot. Let's go like this. Yeah, this is not the best. Maybe if you're doing this, if you're making a new gen, you might not want to save this version, like that copy of Luminosity. You might break something. So yeah, you would call this, or save it and then, yeah, I just don't want that label to. It won't actually. It wouldn't have caused an error. We could have saved the label in there. It wouldn't have caused an error. It would have just loaded a new label and called it label 1, and then it would have only edited label and selected label. So we wouldn't have probably gotten an error, but whatever. Oh, it's spherical. So that's the one we edited, and now we're going to drop in the new one. Ah, shit, I broke something. No, I just totally, well, actually, I don't even know for sure. So I'm not even getting an error. Okay, so that is not the way to save a gen. Go back to the original way. It's a little bit harder. At least all the steps are the same except for where you're going to load it. Okay, so database, plugins, gens. You could load them all at once. This was the method. So load all plugins. And that will load every single plugin into this container or component, and you could edit all of them. But I'm going to just drag my gen in. See, it wasn't even named properly by doing it that way. This is not happy. Create UI. Init presets. Good. And now we're going to hit save. Luminosity, assets, components, gens, my gen. We're going to name it. If I just hit save, it would be wrong. I have to name it with that extension. Yes. I could delete it, although I shouldn't or wouldn't if I was actually editing or working on something. And my gen. Okay, so there it is. So, except I have this effect on it. So the only part about that there is you can edit effects right directly inside of a chain, which is nice because then you can be routing video to them, and it's part of the system. And I find that kind of a lot nicer myself because typically you need an input for an effect, and then you don't have to have some sort of fake input or anything. But with gens, they're generating video, so you don't need an input. And obviously, this system here is a little bit more finicky, so you don't want to be messing around with deleting stuff. So simply go into the network, go into somewhere in the network. It doesn't even matter where. I just chose to use gens because that's where I used to make them. And load it in here, edit it, save it all properly, and then drag it into your clip to test it. That would be the process. And then scenes, I went through the scene, how to make a scene quickly, and that's basically, and like I said, to me, I'm more into scenes really for just about anything because like it's a pain working, like unless you're going to make something for someone that someone's going to use, or you, like, these are not very editable things. I find like it's not a very easy spot to get to, and like I said, you could also have a, where are we here, browser, a scene clip that can select a scene, which is an effect, could be a gen. So if you've got big scenes or big comps, I would really consider the scene route versus the clip route. They both can have the same end result, but it just depends on your workflow. The other good thing about clips though is if you make clips or gens is that preloading is already built in. So if you were to build a clip and it needed to get unloaded when you switch banks because you got serious scenes you're switching through, and you've got to be unloading and loading stuff dynamically, and unloading and loading movies isn't good enough, which the movie players do automatically. You could go, this could be your scene, gen, sorry, this would be your gen, and you would just go in here and edit this active function and turn stuff off and on right here. Sorry. Turn on here. So, or off. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to grab some food now. Have a great night, everyone.